Bitcoin looking weaker and weaker, and altcoins not doing any better. Welcome to Altcoin Buzz Trading. I'm Randy. We're going to talk about Bitcoin today and this garbage market that we're in. Also, a couple of our hot tokens, so stay tuned for that. Let's get to BTC. Now, I've adjusted my trend lines here on my 2-hour time frame to a descending triangle. You can see it here on the daily. We broke the symmetrical, broke the trend line, broke the 50-day, pretty much broke everything. And now we are in a descending triangle. This is a bearish pattern. Volume is declining, indicating that the buyers have gone away. Now, let me explain that for a moment. When you're in an uptrend and you're consolidating, take this for instance. When you're in an uptrend and you're consolidating and you have declining volume, the sellers are going away because you're in an uptrend. When you switch to a downtrend, and our market cycle is correction as well, so about 5 or 6 things telling you that the uptrend is done, right? Not going to say we're going to go down to 15,000, but the uptrend that we've been in is done. And when that happens, the buyers go away when you're consolidating. And that's the general theme. When you look at this triangle, there's actually quite a bit of space in it. I could try to, extend this out. I could extend this out further. And you can see the amount of time left. So it doesn't mean we're going to drop immediately right now. It's a possibility. But whenever this trend line here gets broken, 61,591, we are likely to begin to take a leg lower. You could have a retest and then bounce back up, kind of like a fake breakout to the downside. But it is looking, at least right now, like everything's going to break down. The whole market essentially has large, bear flags across the board, from small tokens to large tokens. Very, very similar patterns. That means the market's moving in unison. Okay. And in uptrends, that's amazing. In downtrends, you need to learn how to short if you're not comfortable with that, or step aside and let the carnage happen, and then try to find a better time to buy if you're a long only trader. So what do we do in this situation? Well, if we break down, you can short. If we get down towards this line, you can try to play the counter trend and bounce, but these bounces are getting more feeble. This initial bounce is really difficult to trade, but that's 8.47% peak to trough. So if you time this perfectly, you got 8%. This last one over the past 24 hours only got you almost 4.5%. And you're not going to get the bottom, you're not going to get the top. So just call it half of that, like 2%. Very hard to trade this with any consistency and be profitable. So it's really better not to do much and either short a pop, which we talked about yesterday, and our pop came earlier today, or you wait for the breakdown. Those are pretty much your moves at this time. It doesn't have to be with BTC. There's a lot of tokens like this that have other slightly different patterns, but they're bear flags. Bear flags, this is a form of a bear flag as well. So market looking like it wants to roll over. Uptrend is basically done for now, and I'll let you know when I see otherwise. But let's take a look at our hot coins today. We've got Stacks and Render. Render seems to be on the list a lot lately. Stacks rolling over pretty abruptly. 50-day moving average here in purple on my chart on the right. And you can see we've been held up by that 50-day moving average, which is pretty normal. Slicing through that about a week ago and then rolling over here pretty handily. So when I talked about everything has a bear flag, this thing looks like it already wants to go visit the lows. This bear flag isn't extraordinarily well defined. You could arguably say that's your bear flag. There's really no triangle shape to this. If you want to try to line up these two highs, you're pretty much going with the general trend. So you may as well just draw a long trend line such as that. But yeah, so moving lower here, higher volumes probably should come in to bring us a lot lower, but this is definitely not looking very good. Going to come down, meet this 200-day moving average, which several coins have already hit that. And then Render's been on our radar here for a minute. We talked about this at the trend line where it did just stop. And we talked about good ways to short this was to maybe try to short on this trend line break. We had an alternative signal up here with a little horizontal line break. That would have been just a great short with a pretty tight stop loss up here at about 3%. And it looks like it's continuing the downtrend momentum. So things are kind of shifting here, more bearish. Also underneath the 50-day and getting down. It's not close to the 200, but it looks like it's heading in that direction. Yeah, so still a lot of room for this to come and find some support. You have some wicks down here at the 6.8. This is all game down here for shorts. So for shorting though, just like longing, you want to find a good stop 10%, that's too wide really to try to take a short at the moment. Any bounce though could be shortable, and then you can use a, just like I did here, a trend line break or a horizontal, even on a smaller time frame, for an entry on something like Render, which has been pretty volatile lately as it starts to kind of break down from this last flag it had. So, all right, guys, there you go. Market is choppy at best, bearish at worst, and you're looking for shorts right now, or you're waiting. And we'll see if things change tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, and I will see you then on Altcoin Buzz Trading.